World Rugby Breakthrough Player of the Year, All Blacks Player of the Year. Both awards in his debut season. Wallace Sititi achieved more at 23 than most players manage in entire careers. And now the real test begins. Not whether he can play, that's already settled, but whether he can lead when everything around him is collapsing. The son of former Samoa captain Semo Sitíti, named after William Wallace because his parents loved Braveheart, and now being discussed as a future All Blacks captain, despite barely having 2 years at test level. Here's the thing though, the All Blacks don't hand out opportunities, they arrive in the wreckage of what came before. Scott Robertson, sacked as head coach, Scott Barrett, captain on sabbatical from Super Rugby, Ardie Savea, vice captain with 1 foot out the door. This isn't just bad timing, it's a leadership vacuum, and Sititi is standing right at the edge of it. The All Blacks have a brutal habit of creating stars and breaking them in equal measure. Young players step into chaos, some become legends like Richie McCaw, others get chewed up and forgotten. Sititi is about to find out which category he belongs in. Think about where he was 12 months ago, coming off the bench for the Chiefs, barely a regular starter, and by season's end he's lining up against the Springboks in Cape Town for his first test start, on his 22nd birthday. Against Siya Kolisi, Peter Steff and Jasper Wiese, arguably the most physical loose trio on the planet, most players would have been absolutely smashed, but Sititi got stuck in, made his tackles, carried hard, and walked off that pitch looking like he'd been doing it for years. That performance changed everything because it proved something crucial: he doesn't fold under pressure. Sititi came through it, future captain, next McCaw, the kid who could lead New Zealand through the next era. The McCaw comparisons are dangerous though, because people forget McCaw had Tana Umaga and other senior players creating a safety net around him. Sititi doesn't have that luxury. Barrett's gone on sabbatical, Savea might walk away entirely, and the coaching setup just imploded. If he steps into leadership now, he's doing it alone, and that's where talented players either rise or crumble. What makes Sititi different from every other hyped up young loose forward is his actual skill set. He's not just some big lad who carries hard and clears out rucks. He can offload under pressure, link play like a back, read defensive structures, and create tries from nothing. His performance against England at Twickenham showed exactly that. Offloads that created tries, line breaks in traffic, topped the tackle count, and never looked remotely out of his depth. The problem is staying healthy. Knee surgery wiped out chunks of his early career, then ankle problems needed more surgery, and if his body keeps breaking down, none of this matters. The Springboks will absolutely target him, not just because he's talented, but because they know shutting him down cripples New Zealand's attacking game. They'll slow everything down, make it a war of attrition, test his decision-making when he's exhausted and the crowd's going mental. He needs to add serious bulk without losing the mobility that makes him dangerous. And his clean-out technique needs work because the box will test him at every single ruck. Mate, we appreciate you here at Rugby Chopper. Give us a subscribe, helps us out. Cheers. The captaincy question hanging over Sititi isn't just about talent, it's about timing and whether New Zealand Rugby learned anything from their past disasters. They've got form for rushing young players into leadership, throwing them into impossible situations, and then acting surprised when it all falls apart. Sititi captained school teams, he was deputy head boy at De La Salle, so he's got leadership experience. But that's a million miles from captaining the All Blacks, when the coaching staff just got binned and senior players are walking out the door. South African teams have seen this script before. Young All Blacks loose forward gets hyped to the moon, everyone expects miracles, and then the box systematically break them down. They'll exploit his inexperience, force him into making calls under fatigue at critical moments, and if he hesitates even once, they'll punish it. Thing is, Sititi's already been to Cape Town, already felt what it's like when the bomb squad arrives in the final 20 and turns the game into an absolute dogfight. He won't be shocked by it, which counts for something. New Zealand Rugby keeps making the same mistakes, rushing appointments, alienating senior players, prioritising short-term fixes over long-term planning. If they hand Sititi the captaincy just because he's talented and popular without building proper support around him, they're setting him up to fail spectacularly. If they're actually smart about it, use his Super Rugby form as a genuine test, bring in coaches who can mentor him rather than just use him, create a leadership group that shares responsibility instead of dumping it all on one kid, then maybe this works. The Chiefs campaign becomes absolutely critical in this context because it's the proving ground where Sititi can demonstrate he's ready for more responsibility without the full weight of national expectations crushing him. He can make mistakes, learn from them, develop his leadership voice, and build the kind of credibility with teammates that makes captaincy effective rather than just ceremonial. If he struggles during Super Rugby, if the injuries return, if he can't maintain form across a full season, then the captaincy conversation should die right there. But if he dominates, if he carries the Chiefs through tough patches, if teammates naturally start looking to him for direction, even without the armband, then the case for giving him more responsibility becomes legitimate rather than desperate. The window for Sititi is right now, and that's both an opportunity and a trap. When the All Blacks go through transitions, there's always a brief moment where young players can force themselves into leadership conversations, but that window slams shut fast once new structures form and senior players reassert control. His Super Rugby campaign with the Chiefs is absolutely massive because it's his chance to prove he can handle week after week pressure when everyone's watching. Super Rugby is faster than Test Rugby, more relentless, and you're facing guys who've studied every part of your game. If he dominates, carries the Chiefs deep into playoffs, shows he can lead even without the armband, then whoever ends up coaching the All Blacks will have a very clear answer about whether this kid is ready. The tactical development he needs to show during this period goes beyond just playing well. He needs to demonstrate he can read games in real time, adjust to opposition strategies, communicate effectively under pressure, and make decisions that benefit the team even when they don't showcase his individual brilliance. Young players often struggle with that last part because their instincts push them toward moments that highlight their own skills, rather than making the smart play that might be less visible but more effective. If Sititi can show that maturity during Super Rugby, if he can make the boring, correct decision instead of the exciting, wrong one, that tells coaches he's thinking like a leader rather than just a talented individual. The physical toll of what's being asked of him shouldn't be underestimated either, because going from being a promising youngster to being the focus of every opposition's defensive planning completely changes how you experience rugby. Teams will study his patterns, target his weaknesses, put their biggest hitters on him at every ruck, and force him to make plays when he's already exhausted. The Springboks are masters at this. They'll make the game ugly, slow it down to a crawl, and then exploit any mental fatigue that causes decision-making to slip. Sititi needs to prove he can handle that kind of targeted attention across multiple matches without his performance dropping off or his body breaking down. The stakes here are ridiculous. Sititi didn't ask to be positioned as the saviour, he was just playing good rugby and winning awards, and now he's at the centre of debates about the entire future direction of New Zealand rugby. Can a player barely into his 20s step into major leadership when everything's falling apart around him, or does rushing him into that role destroy a career that could have been managed properly with patience? The difference between developing the next McCaw and destroying the next promising talent comes down to whether New Zealand rugby can look beyond their immediate crisis and actually invest in building a leader rather than just filling a gap. Sititi's got the talent, he's proven he can handle the pressure on the field, but talent alone has never been enough when you're asking someone to lead a team through genuine turmoil. The real question isn't whether Wallace Sititi can become an All Blacks captain, it's whether the people making these decisions have the patience and the wisdom to let him become one. Cheers, mate. Have a good one.